that I also have. We up now?
Yep.
Okay.
I got the notification, but it said waiting for Relocation Football League.
I see Aaron Pritchard.
All right, there. I think we got.
Make sure that I can see the chat. So, yeah, it says it's live. We got 4 people. It says in here right now. What's good, everybody? So we can start it up. What's good, Relocation Football League fans? It's your boy Smitty here with a couple cast members, and we got, of course, head coach of the Explorers, Coach Bill, coach of the Sentinels, Coach Armstrong, and a special guest with us, Luke Rainey, as you all know, the one who comes up with the amazing articles, man. Glad to have you on board with us. Yeah, man, we appreciate all the work that you do for the RFL, man. Glad to have you on board for the podcast and just, great member to have in this community. Starting off the podcast, we have some big news to talk about here. The RFL is now officially a business, you guys. We were able to raise the money enough to turn the RFL into an official LLC, and yeah, the RFL is official, and we're about to be trademarking everything soon. But yeah, at this point, the RFL has officially become a business. So I want to give a big shout out to you guys for coming here. And it says, oh, you can't hear. They said they can't hear Luke.
Oh, I bet he doesn't have his voice shareable.
Yeah, you gotta go. You have we can hear you, but you don't have this setting. So you gotta go to your party settings now. And then go to where's it at? Yeah, allow your voice to be shared. Yep.
All right. There we go.
Can you guys hear Luke now? You always have a problem with that. We got to make sure we remember to do that next time.
Yeah, I never really even thought about that before, but
can you guys
looks
hear
like
Luke?
We're good.
They said they can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, if you don't mind, you can say what you said before about when.
All right. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the past 6 months within here, I mean, it's been wonderful. Just kind of getting in with this team, and then obviously with Mitchell putting me as OC for the Snowhawks. I mean, that was a big step into it. But then, I mean, the big thing for me has just been writing these up after some of the games I've been trying to do about once a week. That's kind of been my rate at where I'd write them up at. And I mean, it's just been. I feel like I've been improving a lot, and especially at the end there, whenever I started writing those 5 thoughts after each game columns, I think people did enjoy those a lot in comparison to some of the game summaries I did beforehand. So really appreciate a lot of the feedback I've received in the past 6 months. It's been wonderful so far.
Yeah, big shout out, man, to Luke joining us here for the first time on this podcast, and man, once again, glad to have you as part of this community as we continue to grow. And speaking of growth, as I mentioned earlier, the RFL officially a LLC. We're official business now, and we are moving in the right directions. Got a lot of big things coming for you guys in the future. So if you want to be a part of it, make sure you do the right things and stay linked in with the community, stay up to date, and big things. Just know that they are coming for the RFL. And so with that big news,
Mr. Commissioner, not to cut you off. Quick question before you continue on. I see in the chat says, how does an LLC work?
Okay, well, yeah, LLC is just a Bill, you can break this down probably better than how I explain it. But
yeah, the LLC basically it allows Smitty now as the business owner to work this like a business, so to push things more, so to eventually start gaining revenue and advertisements and getting sponsorships and advertisements on the website and different things like that you see smaller businesses do. Another thing is it's going to separate Smitty from being a personal, how can I explain this? Before it was just basically Smitty. Now there is a business outside that is connected to Smitty, but not Smitty himself. So now it sort of takes the liability away from Smitty. It also opens doors for that. Things can just be done more on the business side of things rather than just a hobby gamer streamer thing like most guys usually are. So it just opens the doors for us to be able to do a little bit more things and hopefully make this thing grow and get more people on board and even businesses on board with giving us advertisements and sponsorships so we can bring even better content to you guys in the future.
Yeah, man. Like I said, Bill was definitely going to break that down way better than I would. But that's exactly what it does. And I see Vlog Games saying, good job, Smitty. But no, it's good job to you guys, man. You guys help make this happen. If it wasn't for you guys' support, we would have never been able to get to this point with the league growing, man. And, C-Mac talked 2 subs away from 2.9. We'll definitely be at 3K by the time Season 5 rolls around next year. But, the big news. But, this isn't about, me. It's all about the whole community, man. We are making this league grow. And I couldn't be more happier with the guys that we have that are, helping us. And, of course, all you guys supporting us day in and day out. Well, next, the main topic that we got to talk about here is, of course, the draft here. This is big. Before we talk about the draft, of course, you can't have a draft without the prospects. And I just want to talk about and just ask the guys here on the staff here for this podcast, what are your thoughts on the All-Star game? Who'd you like? Who stood out? Who didn't perform? Just your overall thoughts on the rookies so far and their first game performances, and who you expect to see in the All-Star game of the 2 teams and all that. Anything that comes to mind.
Well, I'll start it out with my own team, I guess. Didn't win at all. We didn't win the game itself, but there was quite a few guys on my squad that played really well. I know C-Mac is in the chat, and he played a pretty good game, sack, interception. I didn't think he played better than what he could have, because I always thought that from the beginning he was going to be a stud prospect. But to see him get the sack and the interception, and that was a big movement for him. And then also from some of the other teams, I think my sleeper was Madison Axel. I think everybody here saw that big run he ripped off in the game. I didn't see that coming. And then, of course, some of the quarterbacks we had, Torres and who else? Tyrone Green. And I think it was Basler who played really well in the second half. So those are some of the guys that I sort of stood out to me in the rookie series that we've had so far.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I have to say my team, the Orbits. Man, as y'all know, I got the bottom of everything, even if sometimes I didn't get nothing. But they went up against the high-powered Nighthawks, man, and I just knew we were going to get blown out the water. But me being who I am, I managed to turn something nothing into something. And they played awesome, man, all the way through. Even took it into overtime. Standout players, I'd have to give it to the defense. Who was that? Jerry Bill, the Flyers, that taking balls out the air, causing fumbles and everything else. Man, that defense was awesome from start to end. There's no complaints. But man, I just can't wait till the season starts so I can see what these rookies gonna do on the RFL team.
I think one of the people that stood out to me most of all out of anybody in those games was, I believe it would have been for the Flyers, Caleb Brown. He's actually one of the profiles I wrote up leading up to this podcast, but he threw 16 passes, completed 7 of them, but almost 200 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I'm a little bit worried about his consistency, but this is a flashy player, and that really stood out to me leading up to tonight here. So I really think that he's going to be able to do some things for teams that are in need of quarterbacks.
Yeah, Caleb Brown, there you go, getting a little shout out. There you go. Well, if there's anybody who knows a lot about these rookies, it's definitely Luke. And big shout out there. What's your thoughts on the All-Star games? just in general?
I mean, in general, it's just, I mean, it was a great display by, I think, everybody. And, that's just, I think, one of the big things is trying to make a name for yourself. I mean, it was leading up 1 week before the draft, and this is what we have going on, this rookie series. I believe it's a new concept for the RFL. I don't believe this was around in seasons prior. And if it wasn't, I don't believe it was I guess, as much organized as it is right now. And, I mean, that's the most important thing of it all, just getting yourself out there in front of the coaches. And that's one of the big things I even emphasize with doing those rookie profiles. It's all about those connections. If you want to move up higher in that draft, in the draft, I mean, you can have all the good grades, you can have all the good stats and whatever, but just making those connections and making a name for yourself leading up to, that's really what helps you out.
Yeah, really good input right there, Luke, man, for sure. That is the key for rookies. You may not think it means anything, but if you can make connections, be good within the community, talk with coaches and things like that, that goes a long way with you being drafted in the league. In terms of me, who I thought really stood out the most, I would have to say, man, to be honest, Joseph Torres. I thought he balled out, along with I would have to say Anthony Savoy. Both of those guys, I think their talent at the quarterback position during the rookie series was about evenly matched, and they played really well. Just going out, showing that they can throw the deep ball. They can pretty much throw the ball anywhere. They were going deep, they were going medium, they were going short. They were accurate, and for the most part, the whole game, they were just striking consistently, and they made it look easy. And, that's what you want to see out of rookie quarterback coming into the draft. Now, we already know the RFL is a league where, we have a lot of really good quarterbacks. As you can see here, we got the Diablos here with Aaron Pritchett, starting quarterback 94. We got a couple of 90-plus overall quarterbacks, so chances of quarterbacks starting in the league is very low until guys retire. You can see the age, and that's something that we'll talk about right after this topic. But I just wanted to give a big shout-out to those guys and just everyone in general as a rookie who competed. I think everyone did a good job. For those who didn't really get the time or the opportunity to put on a show like you wanted to, it's all good, man. Just look forward to the draft, and best of luck to you. I'm pretty sure most of everyone will be drafted. If you don't, we've seen some amazing stories in the RFL where guys go as a free agent and get picked up. For example, Ricky Flores was one of those guys. He did not get drafted way back in, I believe, season 3. The Condors scooped him up. He was able to get a lot of touches after an injury, and 2 back-to-back years he had really big seasons for the Condors as a backup. And just recently they let him go into free agency, test the waters, and Ricky Flores gets picked up right by the Gunners, and he's going, for the first time in his career, going to be the starter. So those are the type of stories that could potentially be your player in the future. So it's not all about getting drafted. I mean, it is at this moment getting drafted. You want to get drafted, but if you don't think all is lost. I mean, you do have an opportunity in this league to make something out of yourself as a player. You never know when that time's going to come. But moving on to the next topic, we were supposed to talk about this topic before we went into the rookies and everything, but there's a reason why we got Aaron Pritchett and these old guys up here, and the main reason why we do have him up here is because Aaron Pritchett, if you can remember, he was in his 20s when season 4 was going on, and one thing I have to say on my part, way back since season 2, I made a mistake on a few guys transferring them over. And, so what happened is we want to keep the league very authentic and make sure that these players are the players that they should be. And I realized there were some wrinkles in terms of transference with not too many guys, but there's some guys who were younger that shouldn't have been, and some guys with the wrong traits and things like that. Just wanted to put it out there that we changed the ages of these guys. Some guys signed guys that thinking they were younger to long contracts. For the coaches, we already talked with them, letting them know that, yeah, we will be able to fix your contracts, and we'll make sure to get that done. But, there's just a couple key guys. I'll talk here with Bill, just that got older over this process, but, how it's going to make the league better in terms of giving people opportunity. So, Bill, who's some guys that you want to point out here?
Well, the first one, like I said, like you said, was Aaron Pritchett. Last year, a lot of you guys remember that he was the big trade because he was a young quarterback, above a 90 overall. Well, it turns out he's actually one of the oldest quarterbacks in the league. So with that for these young guys, the quarterbacks out there that are hoping to be drafted next year, this change is sort of actually going to be a good thing for you guys because this is going to help us bring in new talent to the RFL. A few of these names on the list here might be a little shocking to you guys, make a few people upset that the ages were wrong, but at the end of the day, it's going to open up the doors for a lot more of, the new guys like you guys coming in to take over those spots and make a name for yourself in the RFL. So Aaron Pritchett is the first one. He goes up to 35 years old. Obviously he's going to be around this next season, but once they hit that 33, 34 mark, you never know what quarterbacks are going to do. We've seen Madden keep them till they're 39. We've seen them retire at 32. It's going to be a guessing game with all of these guys, but a good guessing game. It helps us rejuvenate the league. One of the other names, and honestly off of this whole list is probably the biggest name, is we're going to head over to the Gunners. Or we can go Chase Mason. We're already here. Never mind. Yeah. But Chase Mason was another one. He was signed to the Desperados this year to sort of be the answer to the questions that Eric Fisher raised last year. Turns out he's 35 as well. So now it goes from a answer and hopeful direction for the Desperados to now more of a stopgap type of player where, he comes to fill in for a year or two maybe and then, gives away to a rookie, whether that is Eric Fisher or maybe the Desperados go quarterback now in the draft to try to get a younger guy in there to get ready to play. The third guy from the NFC file is going to be Jabri Jackson, of all people. So, as we all know, we did the rookie or the special on him last year before the season. He's a big name, and it turns out he's actually 29 years old. So, some big names in the NFC file that are not going to be around as long as we thought, and also not be the overalls that we assumed they would be for the next few seasons. Now, if anybody knows Madden, these ratings start to decline once they hit 30 years old. Quarterbacks are sort of wishy-washy. Sometimes it gives them till 31 or 32, but regardless, these three teams now are going to be in the market for a quarterback eventually. Whether it's Allen below that ends up getting the spot there, or if they want to draft somebody else. But the league itself is going to be quite shaken up now, and a lot of new faces are going to be brought in. So that's some sort of exciting news out of the issue of the bad crossover that we had. But and we have two more names that are actually from the AFC side. This is actually more centralized to one team, and it's an unfortunate situation for the coach of that team. But we are going to be heading over to the Chicago Cougars, which, as we know, Rob Roby is the head coach for. He was pretty excited about his team. He had Rob Slater and Contavious Henderson and Tomlinson and all of these guys there that he was ready to, do some great things with. It turns out that all of these guys are a little bit different now. As we see here, Rob Slater is now 32 years old. Instead of, I can't remember what he was before this. Was it like 27 or 28?
27, yeah, 27.
Yeah, something like that. So he now goes from somebody who could be here for the next 5 years to, you might need to replace me soon. And then one of his favorite targets, London Lions, is another one that is now in the 30 club. So at one point he was 25, I think, before we fixed things. I think he was 25 along with Henderson. 90 overall guy, but now he's a 30-year-old and he's going to start declining fast because those receivers, age does not like them in Madden. So those are just, I think those are like the 5 biggest names of changes that have happened with the fixing of these the player contracts and player ages. But like I said before, man, this is actually sort of a good thing for you young guys in the chat, because if some of these guys were actually 25, 26 years old, it'd probably take you guys a heck of a lot longer to get on the field and be starting quarterbacks in the RFL. And with this, now there is another 4 openings that might open up in the next season or two.
Yeah, big names right there that is going to be most likely leaving a little bit earlier than expected. But like Bill said, definitely is going to help you guys be able to have an opportunity to play in the league at quarterback, as we was just talking about that, where quarterbacks most likely not having an opportunity to start coming in as a rookie. For this season, that most likely will be the case, but you never know. For next season, it might not, and so forth. So, I mean, a lot of older guys in the league, a lot of our 90-plus overall quarterbacks are about 30 years old. So, really old guys there. But like we said, it's going to open up some opportunities for you guys, and contracts will be fixed on guys who did make, signings for those guys thinking they were younger. And, we've already talked with the coaches about that, but not really going to affect the league at all. If anything, it's going to help us out, keeping more authentic and getting those people who are behind an opportunity to be able to, possibly play in the early future. So, well, yeah, the last thing.
I got one last thing about that. I didn't have too much crazy stuff going on, but I told a few of the guys that I talk to in the league regularly, I have now opened up the Explorers to now looking for both receivers and corners, because I also felt a little bit of the sting from the age fixing. So there's a couple more spots for you guys too coming next week.
Yeah, so that's big news. It opens up now a lot of spots for draft guys. So high chances of people being able to get picked up. And like I said, make sure if you don't make this all-star game or whatever the case may be, if you didn't perform well, don't worry about it. The draft is coming up soon within about a week. And just to give you guys a gray area, because a lot of people ask this, when the draft is going to be, we're aiming for it to be on the 28th. Now, that depends on when I'm going to be able to get all the editing and everything done. So if the 28th comes and it's not, I'm not going to make an official announcement on when the draft's going to be unless I know for sure I have the videos done. Okay, so look for it to be on the 28th, but if it doesn't come, don't be like, what happened? You just know that the reason why it didn't come out was because I was unable to get the video presentation the way that I wanted or finish the videos in time for you guys. But the goal is to try to get the draft to you guys on the 28th, and that is just literally just a little over a week ago. So what is that, 8 days? 8 days away. So that's going to be big for you guys. I know you guys are looking forward to that. And, of course, for the moment you guys have been waiting for, it's time to reveal the all-star teams that and the players that made it the final cut. Now, I'll have to say it was a lot of guys who did make the cut and, a few that didn't. But like I said, keep your head up high. The RFL draft is still on the way. So let's go ahead and look at these teams. You can see the two all-star teams are going to be the Lumberjacks and the Bats. These are the only two teams that I saw with pretty good uniforms that could play during week 2 of the preseason, so that way everybody can get rotated in. And so without further ado, let's just go ahead and get a look at the Lumberjacks team now. So we're going to start with the quarterback. So the two quarterbacks that made it here for the Lumberjacks, you got Anthony Savoy is going to be starting it out for the Lumberjacks in that All-Star game, and he'll be backed up by Tyrone Green. So these are 2 of the 4 quarterbacks that made it here, making a cut for the Lumberjacks. You get a look at the running backs that made it to the All-Star team here for the Lumberjacks. We got Ashland Boyd, and we got Donovan Rhodes. Now, looking at these, these are in overall order, but to be honest, the guys, I might as well go to the depth chart. That would be better so you guys know who's starting and everything like that. So let me go to the depth chart real fast. Yep, got the quarterbacks. You got Donovan Rhodes will be starting, and then you got in the second half it will be Ashland Boyd getting his opportunity to play. This is a fullback that will be replaced by the actual fullback in the file, so not a player. But here's the receivers for the Lumberjacks that have made the All-Star team. We got Trey McClellan out of LSU. We got Hunter Jones out of Alabama. And then we got Cam Rux out of Michigan. And in second half receivers, we got Carlos Luzon and Adrian Taylor along with Latavius Austin. So these are the guys that have made a receiver spot for the Lumberjacks. Looking at the tight ends that made it, there was only 4 tight ends that were submitted, so all the tight ends did make it to the All-Star game. And so for the Lumberjacks, they got Hudson Johnston and they got Zack Forest there for the tight end position. Looking at the linemen, we got Thomas Brown, who was a submitted player. Let's see who else was a submitted player. Devontae Dean out of Maine. And there was one more lineman. We got 6 linemen in total that was submitted. Here we go. Jordan Williamson. So all the 6 linemen were split up between both teams, and these are the three linemen that the Lumberjacks have, as they got Williamson there at right guard. Looking at defensive end, starting for the Lumberjacks, we got Diego Lizarraga Jr. Out of Clemson, backed up by Tristan Van Ree out of UTEP. And on the right side of the defensive end spots, we got Jason Henderson out of Arizona State, and then Tyler Connolly out of Emporia State. And looking at the D tackles of the All-Star team, we got Nashawn Richardson out of UCF, and he'll be backed up in the second half by Mar Rivers, as we like to call him, Cheeseburger. I think both of these guys will actually be on the field in the first half, so we'll have to see how that goes. And looking at the linebackers for this All-Star Lumberjacks team, we got Brady Knight starting it out of Alabama, backed up by Tyrone Johnson out of UCF. At the middle linebacker spot starting, we got Michael Kelly out of Rice, backed up by Nicholas Jenkins out of Arizona. And the last two linebacker spots here for the Lumberjacks, we got Kenny Summer out of Cincinnati, and he's backed up by, they got Johnson again here. So there's somebody else missing. Yeah, there he goes. He will be switched in that second spot. I might as well make that change now. There we go. So backed up by Jericho McBride. So McBride will be that second linebacker in the second half to start out for the Lumberjacks. Looking at the cornerbacks for the Lumberjacks, starting out, we got Owen Dunfield had himself a great performance in that All-Star game. A lot of guys, too, did also, but he will be starting out for the Lumberjacks out of LSU, backed up, also on the field with Marquise Washington out of James Madison. Then we have Kilo Austin out of Texas, Frankie McAllister out of Louisville, and we got two other guys. We got Caden Blair out of Rice and James Harrell out of Houston. So those are the cornerbacks for the Lumberjacks. Looking at the free safeties, of course, the best performance safety of the All-Star game, we got Cole McAnally out of Montreal University. C-Mac. Yeah, C-Mac. There you go. C-Mac starting it out for the Lumberjacks, backed up by Raysean Vaughn out of Wisconsin. And for the strong safety spot, we got Derek Oliveros out of Syracuse, and he'll be backed up by Sean Abrams out of Maryland. In the last spots, we got the kickers and the punters. One of the kickers were converted to a punter, and so he'll be punting. But we got Joaquin Gonzalez backed up by Chris Allison, who will be the punter. So that is your Lumberjacks All-Star team. And,
Can we see what these Lumberjacks uniforms look like before we go over to the bats? I myself have never actually seen the Lumberjack uniforms.
Okay, yeah, we can do that too as well. So we're gonna go ahead and just go to the game here just to see what it looks like. Because the uniforms, you're not gonna see them unless you edit them. Because this is the way I'm gonna actually have them in the game. So they're regular uniforms, nothing special, just basic that. But the best thing that we have right here, you get the all reds with a copper helmet right there. So I think that's a pretty good looking all-star team. That's way better than what we would have got with the Antlers, man. So that's a really
so much hate for the Antlers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the Antlers uniforms, we definitely weren't going with that, so we had to make it work here with the Lumberjacks. And I think that all red looks pretty good. And even though brown helmets isn't the best looking thing, I think that copper with the red, I don't think anybody's going to pay attention to these. I think these look pretty good. So these are going to be the all-star teams along with those rosters for the Lumberjacks. And we'll get a look at the Black Knights when we go through their rosters right now. I said Black Knights, I mean Bats. So confused with the RFL teams. All right, here we go. Depth chart. And here goes the final team for the all-star game. The Bats. Not the Black Knights here. Quarterback, we got Joseph Torres starting it out for the Black Knights out of Texas. Backing him up, performing well, was Russell Basler out of Alabama. So those are your two quarterbacks that'll be starting in the first and second half of the game. At running back, we got Jacob McDonald starting here for, actually it should be Madison Axel, but we'll switch that up. Axel had the better performance in the first All-Star game, but he'll be starting it out in the first half for the Bats, and Jacob McDonald will be finishing it out in the second half for the Bats. Looking at the fullback, the only fullback submitted in the RFL draft, we got Trip Bruce starting for the Bats there. And at wide receiver spots, we got Trey Cook starting them all out. I think some of these guys need to be reversed, but I guess doesn't matter. I'll just announce the guys. We got Trey Cook out of Princeton. Then we got Mike Martz out of Clemson. We got Victor Middleton out of Ohio State. Farrell Rains out of Memphis. Sean Acosta out of Drake. And Matt Smith out of Yale. So those are your Bats wide receivers that made it to the All-Star game there. We got, of course, every tight end made it. So for the Bats, the 2 tight ends starting for them is Hayden Jean-Charles and Mark Albany. Looking at the linemen, those guys aren't submitted players. Center submitted player right here. Cameron Horwood out of Oklahoma State is on the line there. We have, let me see, Tom Schaefer for the Bats as well. There's another guy missing here because there were 6 on these teams. Let me see if I can find where the other guy, he may have actually went down. Oh, yeah, there he goes. Aiden Mahill. So he'll be starting. We got to nerf this guy down because he's not even a submitted player. So Mahill will be starting at that left tackle position. And looking at the defense for the All-Star game, we got Brent Harrison out of Pittsburgh and backed up by Isaiah Mosley out of Miami University. So those are the defensive ends on the left side. On the right side, we got Alubi Easy out of Memphis, backed up by Tequil Armstead. Tequil Armstead. He got moved around here. And looking at the D tackles, well, what happened? There should be another. Okay, one of these DNs. Yeah, William Yost. So the depth charts weren't arranged for the Bats here. So those will get changed. But William Yost will actually be starting on the left side here for the Bats. And then he'll be backed up by Isaiah Mosley. And then on the right side, we'll have Easy backed up by Brett Harrison. That's how it's supposed to go, yeah. And at D tackles, we have Tequil Armstead and David Pierre. Armstead plays defensive end, but he's been moved to defensive tackle, so that way he can have the opportunity to start. At left outside linebacker, we have Chad Heath the second. Might as well call him junior, but I guess some guys like second over junior. But out of Nevada, he'll be starting at that outside linebacker spot. We got Jared Smith backing him up out of Wisconsin. In the middle linebacker spot, we got Bob Stevens out of Bethune-Cookman, backed up by Shane Masters. And at the right outside linebacker spot, we got Jared Briggs, backed up by Matt Reynolds. And at the cornerbacks, defensive back spots here, we have Draymond Deary, Xavier Rich Walski for the Bats there, Parker Palmer, Cameron Ross, and Damori Sparks. Looking at the free safeties, they got Zach Bates out of Walla Walla. Excellent college name right there. We got Trent Hobbs out of Stanford. And at the strong safety spots, we got Zaya Mondragon out of Miami University and Ike Page out of USF. And finally, the final player, these guys are people too, the kicker, Jerome Davis for the Bats. And so that's going to do it for the All-Star teams. So I hope you guys are excited for the guys who made it. For the guys who didn't, just look forward to the draft. You'll be bound to land somewhere. And if not, you never know how things are going to unfold for you. But there goes the whole All-Star reveal there. And at this moment, we went through all the topics that we had to reach. And now we're just going to take a couple of questions. If anybody got any questions in the live chat, just ask us a question, and we'll try to answer your question here live. So if anybody got anything to say or ask any of our staff members, feel free to do that.
Well, Trey Cook has been begging and begging and begging. Can he keep 81 for some reason?
For his receiver? In the draft, you see, at this point, whatever you got in that application, that's what it is. But you can make that change depending on where you get drafted. So, you're going to have 81 in the actual the All-Star game, and depending on where you go, they'll change that number. Just talk with your coach.
Unless someone already has it before you get there.
Yeah, and if somebody's got 81, depending on where you go, then you got to choose a different number.
Or maybe you can pay him off.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Anybody see any more questions in here?
I'm searching.
Yeah, for the quarterbacks,
I've seen. Someone's got to have something.
I seen Caleb say about it was only 4 quarterbacks that we could take in the game, and those were the 4 that stood out the most. So that's the reason why those 4 quarterbacks made it into the All-Star game. Couldn't add any more because if we did, those other guys wouldn't even have got the opportunity to be able to play on the field.
Sultan, y'all could call y'all selves.
We got one here from Jason Henderson, actually.
Want to be known as the buffet boy.
What happened? Oh, cheeseburger and okay. What were you saying, Luke?
Jason wants to know, will a mock draft be released? I'll tell you what, I noticed in the Discord, I'm just going to kind of jump in on this one. I mean, I don't know if you guys have a more official response for this, but Mitchell O'Brien, who's actually my head coach in the Discord, and as he just pointed out in the chats, he does have these mock drafts going in Discord. He has updated them. I believe he actually posted one yesterday, so make sure you're in the Discord kind of checking that one out because it does kind of tell you, it gives you an idea of the teams and what they need and all that because that actually helped me out in preparation for the podcast because that kind of told me like, okay, I mean, some of these teams are a little bit weak here in these positions and this is what they're going to try and improve on. So that was one of the ones who did it. I don't know if anyone else has.
Yeah. Some guys be posting things out there and you guys just don't look at it. You know, sometimes you ask for something and it's been there for about a week. So just look around, just see if it's there first. Then if it's not, then, you know, go ahead and not saying it's a bad question or anything, but, you know, make sure you look around and stuff before you ask questions. Because sometimes I've seen where a guy literally like 2 posts before yours had what you were looking for. And you're like, yo, where's this? You know, that's just, you know, just make sure you look around and stuff.
Yeah, I saw one of the first questions. Noah asked who we expect to go top 5. Me personally, like, we were considering covering that topic, but what I learned last year in the RFL is I don't think I'm going to expect anything the way it should be. It's always such a crazy draft that I don't even know what I could expect for who would go number 1, who would go number 2. You know, the All-Star game itself, you know, we had guys that played well that maybe we didn't think were going to play well, or guys who didn't play as good as we thought were going to play better. You know, so it's so much stuff going all over. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to correctly try to predict the top 5. So unless you guys got something that you want to throw out there, by all means. But I'm too much craziness in the RFL for me to try to come up with a good answer for that.
Yeah, and I seen somebody ask and it said, from Smitty's knowledge of the Dreads, who are they taking number 1? To be honest, man, I don't know what Coach Frankie is going to do, but you know, I would hope that we get a lineman. You know, I think lineman is an area where we're weak, but you know, not trying to influence him to go there. But you know, that's just my take on where we might go. That's all I could say. I don't know who that's going to be, but we got some areas to fill. You know, unfortunately, we were the worst team in the RFL this year. And I think, you know, Coach Frankie's going to turn things around for us next season, get the pieces we were missing, and, you know, just overall, I think we're going to be a better team next year. But I think our first pick, you know, might go O-lineman, just off my knowledge on where I think we need help.
And then I did see 2 more questions. One was from JR Fly 2 or Junior Fly 2 on what's your thoughts on this year's draft class? Would you say this could be the best draft class yet or close to? Myself, I haven't been around for more than this past season, but from what I understand, this season has been the most active for submitted players, if I'm correct, Smitty. So, I mean, in that regard, you know, if we can keep the community growing and our players the players creators to stick around, I think it could end up being one of the best draft classes.
Yeah, I would have to say, if you really want the truth here, I'm going to tell you, it's not that this draft class is bad. All right, there's definitely a lot of talent in different areas. I just think they're going to be in a lot more different areas than in the past. And in terms of if this draft class, you know, stacks up to the other draft classes, the reason why it's not going to be exactly the same is simply because we used to make the rookies coming in a little bit too OP And this year was the year that we wanted to make sure that we did not do that because it was inflating the league and making it, just too great of players coming in and kind of unrealistic to that extent. Guys who were like, I'll say, like a 67 overall would have like 99 speed and 99 catching, and it's like, okay, he's a 67, but he can outrun everybody and catch all the balls. So it's like, we had to make sure that we made these rookies this year more realistic, and going forward, that's what we plan to do. Still a lot of great talent, I think, in here. A lot of positions are stacked in with talent better than the past drafts, I'll have to say. There's different areas on the field that I think can be really filled in with great players. But that's overall my take on this draft class. There's definitely some great players, but it's not going to be OP like coming in like it was like a year ago and, the seasons prior. So any other questions?
There are two here that I think, well, at least one for sure, is definitely up my alley. Now it's from Sultan LSCG. He says, if anyone is interested in writing for the RFL, how can I go about it?
Please come and do it with me. Please. Me and Luke need help.
Yeah. I think the big thing, at least, I'll just tell you how I got to where I'm at and how I'm even in this podcast to begin with. So I joined the Discord server in mid-January, and the first question that they asked me, at least, I'm not so sure if this is still how it goes, but pretty much just introduce yourself and introduce your background in football. If you have any football-related experiences whatsoever, list them there. Definitely, that's big. And what that led to was me listing the fact that in real life, pretty much, I do have an internship for a high school football internet writing publication, pretty much. And I stood on the sidelines every week, and I just wrote up game summaries of the games that I went to, and I described that. And what that led to was a head coach talking to me and saying, hey, can you do that for some of the RFL games once we get going in the regular season? And I just did that, and I kept on doing it. So I don't know if that's the style of writing you want to do, because there's infinite numbers of ways you can write for the RFL, whether that's writing articles, writing previews, writing analysis on certain players, certain teams, whatever it is. So whatever specifically that would be, I mean, it would be great to have you. I mean, but obviously join the Discord. That's the first step, and that's a direction. I'm not so sure if you're there already, but I mean, I don't even know if you need to ask for approval. I mean, you can just kind of do it. I mean, it's pretty much fan-made content, so I mean that's almost always appreciated, no matter what.
Yeah, so like a lot of these positions, man, it's really up to you. Once you're in the Discord opens up a lot of opportunities for you to join a league. See, a lot of people think that the RFL only has it where you can join the league as just being a player or a coach. There's a lot more ways you can join, and it's really up to you and your interaction in the community. So once you're in the Discord, all you have to do is let us know, I actually feel like I can help the league grow by doing this, by doing that. If you know how to draw, I said draw. What am I talking about? If you know how to write, then let us know. We'll give you a shot to write a couple articles. We'll review it. And, you'll be like how Luke was, we liked his articles. We posted it out there. And, before you know it, you could be a constant writer for us and have your articles posted on our website, faithfully. So, if you're really interested in writing, make sure, you get involved by letting us know and just doing it, and also, you can get involved in graphic designing if you know how to make great artwork like Rob Roby does. Everyone knows Rob. Everybody knows Mix definitely gets it done with the graphic design and the artwork and the posters. I mean, if you got that type of talent, and we bring it forth to us, and we'll get you started on things. And one thing I will say is I'm gonna be honest with this. If your work, I'm not saying if your work isn't good, then don't try. But I'm saying if it's not up to par, we're gonna let you know. And, just keep working on it until it is, and that's been an issue with some guys that came in. We gave them an opportunity. They weren't really, didn't have the designs that we wanted, and from us telling them the truth, it's good art, but it's just not what we want. They get offended by that. But at the end of the day, I mean, in real life, that's what it's going to be depending on, where you're working at anyway. If your company doesn't like what you made, you got to go back and fix it. So, it's not that we're saying you suck or anything like that. Just keep working on it. And before you know it, when it's going to do nothing but make you better at what you're doing. So just continue to do that. And, like I said, you'll be on the staff in no time. It's a lot of ways that you can, contribute to the league, man. If there's anything that that you can do to help the league get better, then just talk to us about it, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah, because I mean, as you guys know, I'm always doing stuff with that website. I want more content for the website. It's probably the one thing that I think separates us from pretty much every league that's out there is I would really like us to get to the point where we have the type of content for our players and our teams that you can go and see on, NFL.com or, any other football league, like player stories, team stories, what ifs, what happened. So, I mean, if you guys have ideas for stuff, if you guys want to write, gladly send me this stuff. I mean, just try to do your best with, proofreading. But of course, if need be, I can always try to skim through it and proofread. But yeah, I mean, if you got something, I just ask that if you're not a part of the team that you're writing about, just reach out to maybe the head coach of that team to make sure he's okay with it. Just because at the end of the day, it is still his team. But yeah, I mean, we want so many more people to be able to help us out. It's just haven't been able to get the right people yet. And that goes the same for, graphic design, like Smitty said, commentating. We'd love to have more commentators. We're not going to throw anybody in the booth if it's going to sound bad or if they don't know what they're doing, but if there's people who want to help with that, get with Smitty, send them some like footage of you announcing a game. We want the extra help. It's just we haven't had many people come through the doors and say, hey, we want to do this. So yeah, definitely we're open to that kind of stuff any day of the week.
Yeah, and as you can see here, I showed the Lumberjacks uniforms, and I'm just going through and just a couple of players while we still answer some questions. Like, these are what the Bats uniforms look like. These are definitely fresh. They're all black. Look, he got the dark visor. Madison Axel, he's definitely going to come ready to play tomorrow. I'll tell you that. But yeah, these are the Bat uniforms that we're getting to look at right now. Forgot to show that and just wanted to, point that out. But any more questions by anybody, or you guys see anything?
Now I can see why you called them the Black Knights.
Those are pitch black, literally. I mean, you got a little bit of blue in there too, looks like.
Yeah, those definitely, they were glitched out. It was like a glitched out uniform, but it actually went real good with the, just to make that all black look really solid, man. That was actually a really good uniform created from the glitch, and we rarely got to see that, especially this season with a lot of these glitched out uniforms. Hopefully they don't have that Madden 20 from what we saw in the beta. We didn't see that. So, uniforms should be straight this year. There's going to be a couple of teams, too, next year getting new uniforms, leaving that up to the coaches to be able to select their own teams' uniforms next year. Also, to be able to select their own stadium. But, like, once they select their own stadium for this upcoming year, that stadium is going to be the stadium that they keep, for a while. So, we're trying to keep the stadiums realistic and constant so it don't seem like the teams are switching to a different stadium every year. That's another thing that we've started paying attention to. Just trying to make the league be a lot more realistic and authentic in those areas, But, yeah, just showing off a couple players.
Can I start a debate while we're in here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got time. Still haven't even touched the hour yet, so, yeah.
All right. First debate topic. I'm going to call it right now. Lumberjacks over Bats for the All-Star game.
Oh, man, you could.
Oh, yeah. I'm calling it.
Man, Axel finna run all over them Lumberjacks.
I'm not saying anything because I'm the commissioner here. I like both sides. That's all I'm saying.
I can't
I say you let me and Bill be the coach then. How about that?
That's a challenge. First, we didn't have anybody, so...
We can get it to the real nitty-gritty then. Me and Bill go coach.
What were you going to say,
so much faith in
Luke?
I can't really weigh in on a guarantee here. I mean, I was just looking through and it looked like all the ratings, all the players. I mean, this was a very competitively matched games. So I mean, frankly, I think it's the flip of a coin. I mean, it's hard to guarantee which side really over the other. I mean, trust me, I'm not just saying that out of nowhere because I mean I saw plenty of games last season where it's like I knew right away, oh my, this team has the advantage, and most cases that's the team who won. So looking at that, I mean, just overall, these players were just, I mean, it's going to be a 50-50 game. That's what I'm trying to say here. And, I mean, that's the best outcome you can hope for, especially for an all-star game. I mean, it truly does not have any huge weight. Obviously, it could determine some draft positions, but that's what you want to see for the all-star game, some competition and a lot of fun for all the viewers.
Yeah, man. I think this game is going to be – I think we balanced out these teams really good, evenly. And speaking of that, I'm going to just go to the game menu just to show you guys the overall of both of these teams. So, like, it's hard to decide who's going to win this one. We already know in the RFL it could go either way. But look at that, 91 for the Lumberjacks, a 92 for the Bats. That's just about even.
Oh
I mean,
God.
this is definitely an all-star team, two all-star teams with great talent going at it, and that's why, you know, I'm not even going to try to make a prediction on who I think is going to win this one at all, because I mean, it should be pretty much even 50-50 like Luke said.
Well,
Bubba, yes,
I'll be the one that starts the controversy.
You said what, Bill?
I mean,
That I'll be the one that starts a controversy then. I'm calling Lumberjacks. So Lumberjacks out there, don't let me down. Bats, prove me wrong.
Plan on it.
Okay, so I guess you heard it here first. Who the coaches, I guess, going to be for the Lumberjacks and the Bats. Then, you know, I like this heated conversation here. So we're going to have.
Did I just talk myself into coaching?
Yeah, you just talked yourself into coaching. Yep, you just did that. So
you ain't gonna accept my challenge. You just gonna leave me hanging.
I didn't even hear that part.
He's accepting
I'll accept that
He's
challenge.
accepting it. So there you go. We got the Lumberjacks going to be coached by Bill, and the Bats, you got Coach Armstrong in the building. So I mean, both of these guys, I mean, I do want to point this out. Both of them lost, so who's going to win?
Okay. Oh, you said to point that out, didn't you?
I'm in for the All-Star game.
But I gave them Black Knights, them Flames or whatever the hell they were. Nighthawks. I gave them the business. They did not get off like they were supposed to.
Well, I guess the one thing you got going for you, Torres, Torres just said that he is the Dark Knight that you need, so maybe that'll be the difference.
Man, he said that he's Batman on the Bats. Yep. We got Batman Torres in the building.
I got Batman out there. Batman took out Superman, so I'm confident.
Okay. Lumberjacks do got red on, so
Superman going down.
All right, so you heard it here first, man. Unless anybody got any more questions, I think this has been a great podcast. We just seen now I guess the fire has definitely been added to this All-Star game. I can't wait to see who wins this one.
So just say the D-line gonna be Torres Joker. Man, that's a tough D-line to go up against, though.
Yeah, it is tough.
Yeah, that's my D-line, so, you know.
I respect that.
All right, so any more questions, or are we all good here?
We all good, I guess.
All right then, man. Game is tomorrow, man. So get hype. Coach Armstrong and Coach Nicholson gonna be battling out with you rookies that made it. And man, I can't wait for this game. It's gonna be a spectacular game. It's gonna have dual commentary with me and Mix, the same way it was for the Relocation Bowl. So that's gonna be a really good game. The last game before the Relocation Football League draft. So RFL draft, man, I can't wait for it. Can't wait to see where you guys go. Make sure you guys ball out this last game. And until then, me and the staff, we're going to see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.